Hey guys, it's Meg. Today we are going over the 12.1 guide for Mistweaver. Before we get into talents or anything, I want to give you an introduction to the spec and what you can expect if you want to play it in keys. First and foremost, Mistweaver is a melee spec. We have heavy reliance on our melee uptime and other melee abilities. We are one of two melee healers in the game, so we are non-traditional. We are assigned melee mechanics and we cannot take range-specific mechanics. Some of our utility, as well as all of our damage and a majority of our healing, is dependent on us being in melee range, hitting mobs. This is usually the hardest part of the spec for a lot of people. If you are coming from a melee DPS or a tank, then it's not too much of an adjustment, but if you're more used to a traditional or a range healer, then there will be more of a learning curve. Mistweaver relies on a combination of damage conversion and casted spells and HOTS. You should never solely rely on one or the other since it's not designed this way, and you're going to make it significantly weaker and way harder than it should be. This is also completely ignoring healer DPS over the course of a dungeon. It doesn't matter whether or not you personally find it relevant for your level of play, but the interactions that our damaging abilities have outside of just doing damage do impact the entire kit and playstyle of the spec. We are a higher APM spec. We highly value haste and we are melee, so our APM is definitely on the higher end. Generally, it is our melee abilities, but we do have a lot of avenues for instant cast spells as well. Mistweaver should basically always be casting something, whether it is applying HOTS as you're running between packs, DPSing for your cooldowns or for your maintenance healing, or casting a spell if you cannot get into melee. There's basically always something that Mistweaver can be doing. Even if it's not healing, you can still be doing damage. Stat-wise, Haste Math are our top two, and Crit and Verse are our bottom two. Haste is our best by far, and Mastery is a little bit of a change from previous seasons. This patch they've put a higher value on Mastery, and due to current tuning, Mastery is one of the more impactful stats for keys. This is just big emphasis on Chi healing, but with a couple of tuning changes we could be back to Haste Crit, so keep an eye on patch notes as we progress through the season. The best races for Mythic Plus in general are Night Elf and Dwarf. I tend to prefer being Night Elf on healers just for Shadow Meld so that you can use it to drop combat, to res, or to drink. It's also really helpful for white protection and any other skips, then Mistweaver tends to do a lot of skips just because we are so quick. Dwarf would be my second choice, especially in seasons with a lot of bleeds. This is very useful, so if you don't want to be a Night Elf, then Dwarf would be the backup. For our talents, class talents are mostly utility. With this build, it does take all of the throughput nodes, and the only things that really change are the utility nodes that will swap based on the dungeon. These are Disable, Improve Detox, Pressure Points, Diffuse Magic, Swift Art, and potentially Link Spirits. Still Step Coil and Disable are basically the same. Disable is a single target slow, and Still Step Coil is an AoE slow that applies Disable, but it does require you to leg sweep, so that is up to you, that is personal preference or dungeon requirements. On my website, on the dungeon overview page, I will have all of these listed out for each dungeon and the abilities that they are used for. For the spec tree, currently playing into Mastery a bit more than we're used to. This is mostly due to tuning and just general weakness outside of cooldowns. Talent-wise, it's not super different from what we regularly play though. It's still largely healing through damage conversion with some support from HOTS and other casted spells. There's a few things that could swap around based on dungeon requirements, the main one being Jade Bond and Gift of the Celestials. If you need a more frequent Chi, then take Gift. If you need a longer duration and a stronger throughput Chi, then take Jade Bond. But Jade Bond does come at the cost of a longer cooldown as well, so it does depend on the dungeon timers. But outside of those two, there's not a ton worth changing at the moment. For our hero talents, we are still playing Conduit of the Celestials. This gives you an additional button to press as a cooldown, which we'll go over later, and Heart of the Jade Serpent, which is a buff, and it gives you cooldown reduction on some of our most important abilities. Our other hero talent is unlikely to be played unless there are some major nerfs to Conduit and major buffs to Master of Harmony. They haven't touched it for all of Midnight at this point, so I wouldn't expect to be playing Master of Harmony much this season. Ancient Teachings is our primary source of healing. This is our damage conversion, and it provides healing through Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick, with the largest portion being from Rising Sun Kick. Tiger Palm is a small single target meleeing damaging ability. Tiger Palm also generates stacks of Teachings of the Monastery. With the current talent setup, one Tiger Palm will give 2 stacks of Teachings of the Monastery, with a maximum of 4 stacks at a time. Blackout Kick is a cleaving melee damaging ability which will consume the stacks of Teachings of the Monastery and also have a chance to reset the cooldown on Rising Sun Kick. And Rising Sun Kick is a large single target melee damaging ability. This is what has a chance of being reset when you use Blackout Kick, and this reset mechanic takes up a large portion of our gameplay loop. Overall, Rising Sun Kick is one of our most important abilities, both for the healing and the damage that it does, as well as additional interactions between other parts of our kit. Rapid Diffusion is a talent that will give Renewing Mist to an ally when using Rising Sun Kick, and Rising Mist is how we extend our HOTS through Rising Sun Kick. This is mostly passive and just used for maintenance, but it's also common to leverage this during certain cooldowns. Spinning Crane Kick is our main AoE damaging ability. It takes up a lot of our globals over the course of a dungeon, with it being more prevalent in dungeons with many large pulls, usually 8 or more mobs. This is our other form of damage conversion to healing through Way of the Crane. Way of the Crane is the healing portion of Spinning Crane Kick, and it also allows Tiger Palm to strike twice and Blackout Kick to cleave. Renewing Mist is our main heal over time, and the uptime on this should be relatively high. Most of the Renewing Mist uptime is done through maintenance through Rapid Diffusion, but it's not uncommon to spend your stacks as you head into the next pack. The healing that it does by itself isn't very high, but with talents like Lotus Infusion, we can use it as an amp, and Mistline helps with a little bit of priority healing. Enveloping Mist is another heal over time, but more importantly, it is a heal amp, 20% with the recommended talents. This also interacts with Rapid Diffusion. This is used for heavy damage intake as part of our ramp, generally used on 2 or 3 people who will be taking the most damage. This is also a key part of one of our other cooldowns, which we will talk about later. Shaylin's Gift is our main cast heal. This can generate up to 10 stacks, known as clouds. There are 2 options that dictate how your stacks generate. Veil of Pride generates clouds at a faster, consistent rate, and Tranquil Tea generates stacks at a lower rate, but you can force generate stacks with Mana Tea. Due to the current tuning, Shaylin's Gift isn't used very often, though it is used out of combat to deal with remaining dots or low health pools. Since those situations we can't rely on damage conversion. Even still, it's pretty weak. Soothing Mist isn't so much used as a heal with this talent build, it's more of a tool. When channeling Soothing Mist, you can cast Enveloping Mist and Shaylin's Gift instantly, and be able to freely swap targets without breaking your channel. We really only use Soothing Mist if we're casting 3 or more Enveloping Mist or Shaylin's Gifts in a row, or if you need the 6% DR from Elusive Mist. Gust of Mist is our mastery, which baseline isn't very useful, but it does also work with one of our major cooldowns and lets us deal additional damage through Morning Breeze. So while Renewing Mist and Enveloping Mist proccing additional healing is nice, it is not the main use of our mastery. With the recommended talents, we do play Crane Style, which also allows Rising Sun Kick and Spinning Crane Kick and Blackout Kick to additionally kick up Gust of Mist, but again, this is just kind of some bonus healing, and the main use is due to Chi-Ji and Rising Sun Kick through Morning Breeze. Thunder Focus Tea is a button that modifies some of our regular abilities. Enveloping Mist will heal instantly and is instant cast, Renewing Mist gets a longer duration, and Rising Sun Kick has its cooldown reduced. Additionally, with this build we are talented into Emperor's Elixir, which adds some extra things onto Enveloping Mist and Rising Sun Kick. Enveloping Mist will begin a Soothing Mist cast that can be used while moving, but Soothing Mist while moving was added as a baseline effect, so the only thing that you would ever be using Thunder Focus Tea on in keys is Rising Sun Kick, and this will give you a Jadefire Stomp, which deals additional damage as well as heals through Ancient Teachings. Mana Tea is our active mana management. You don't need to overthink this one too much, just make sure that you're drinking down your stacks every now and then to regain mana over the course of a dungeon, so you don't need to stop and drink. Our rotation has been heavily simplified, so for target counts up to 4, Rising Sun Kick, Double Tiger Palm, and Blackout Kick is your highest for healing and for damage. Once you have 5 or more targets, Rising Sun Kick on cooldown with Spinning Crane Kick in between will be your highest healing and damage. If the damage you're taking is more than your damage conversion can handle, then you are needing to send some sort of cooldown. We have a lot of really short cooldowns that will help us in between the maintenance healing, so utilizing them and making sure that you're not sitting on them too long is a really key part of Mistweaver. Life Cocoon is a single target shield. It's very good on DPS and healers, but it tends to be weaker on tanks just due to the health differences, though it does depend on what mechanic you're trying to prevent with it. With the recommended talents and hero talents, this usually ends up being around a 55-second cooldown or so it is available quite often. Revival is a single heal event that will also dispel any magic, disease, or poison effects that are active. It heals a decent amount, but there are times where you'll just be using it for the dispel. Keep in mind it does heal before it dispels, so try to remember that if anyone is low health and you're also trying to dispel and heal. Celestial Conduit is the hero talent active ability. This does pulsing damage and healing for the duration of the channel, so it's pretty straightforward as a cooldown. It will also activate all of your celestial buffs at greater effectiveness after the channel. During Celestial Conduit, you can still cast any ability that doesn't do damage or healing. This is things like Roll, Dispel, Leg Sweep, Ring of Peace, Transcendence, Paralysis, and for some reason Touch of Death is included in this even though it technically does damage. Chi-Ji is our primary healing cooldown. We have the choice between it being a 1 minute or a 2 minute cooldown. Generally, when I am starting a season, I will start with 1 minute and then change it to 2 minutes depending on the dungeon requirements, but with Chi-Ji, you're having a couple of things going on with this cooldown. On button press, when you activate Chi-Ji, Chi Cocoons will proc on your group, which are just small shields. If you're playing Gift of these Celestials, you will get normal Chi Cocoons. If you are Jade Bond, these Chi Cocoons will be twice the size, and when they break, they will apply Enveloping Mist to the targets. For both forms of Chi-Ji, you will gain 4 stacks of Teachings of the Monastery when you press the button. During Chi-Ji, your Blackout Kick and Rising Sun Kick are your main source of healing, as Chi-Ji heals through Gust of Mist, which is our mastery that we talked about earlier. Spinning Crane Kick can sometimes be used as well, but generally, when you're pressing Chi-Ji, you are going to be doing the Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick rotation. During Chi-Ji as well, your Enveloping Mist casts are instant and are a lesser mana cost. So while you are using Chi-Ji for the healing, if you need additional healing more than just the damage conversion or the Gust of Mist that you're getting, you can use Enveloping Mist on usually the DPS or whoever's going to be taking the most damage, and you can just put that out before the damage starts, extend it with Rising Sun Kick, and then continue your DPS rotation. Paralysis is a single target stop that can be used to delay an interrupt, stop a patrol, or facilitate skips in some situations. If you're talented into pressure points, then this will also become a soothe, allowing you to remove enrage effects. Leg Sweep is just a basic AoE stun. Disable is our slow, which is single target application but can be extended through any of our damaging abilities. And if you're talented into Still Step Coil, your Leg Sweep will apply Disable to all of the enemies that it hits. You just need to be in melee when the Leg Sweep expires. Ring of Peace is a displacement ability that does not trigger combat, so you can use it to manipulate mobs for skips or to prevent accidental pulling. It can also be used to keep mobs away from players with threat or fixates, tank relief, and stopping casts. Transcendence is more personal utility and movement for positioning, but you can occasionally aid in skips or help negate some mechanics. With Transcendence Linked Spirits, you can then port to a player instead of a position, so this can help you get a lot more creative with your Transcendence use. If there's any major updates, I will post another video, but until then, the website wayofthecrane.io will always be the most up to date.